You're looking for a therapist that's right for you, but you don't exactly know where to start. Yeah, I've been there. The good news is today we're going to go over all of my top recommendations so that we can find a therapist that's right for you so you can overcome your objections and your obstacles right from the start. Let's go.
Oh shit! Woo!
But first, if this is the first time we are meeting, let me introduce myself. My name is Sam Becker. I am capable. Welcome to the channel. On this channel, we talk about mindset and how to build a better mindset so you can give you more confidence, so you can live a more happy, productive life. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Thank you. Okay, so you're looking for a therapist that's right for you. But let me guess. It seems like a huge chore, so you've been putting it off for weeks at a time. It's like I'm talking to myself too. I get it. It seems like a huge chore that you have to just push yourself and make yourself do it, but I promise it's not that difficult to find someone to talk to, okay? And I'm gonna share with you exactly how to do it right now. So for starters, there's this really awesome website that you guys might have actually heard of already, but you can type in exactly what you're looking for and get a bunch of results from it. It's called Google. It's really awesome. I'm totally kidding, guys. But for real, it's exactly what I did. I went on Google and I typed in blank therapists in blank zip code. So whatever issue you're having, type that in before therapists, obviously. So what I did, for example, was anxiety therapists in 90650, right? Which is where I live, Norwalk, California. And naturally that brings up a whole bunch of different results, right? It's Google. There's like 10,000 pages on Google for any search. But I didn't go through all 10,000 pages. Don't worry, you're not either. But what I did was I found a couple of different, links, 3 or 4 or 5 maybe down the search, and found a couple that I liked. So I read their bios, I read the reviews, and I pretty much read everything that they had to offer just to see what would resonate the most, right? And once I did that, I went ahead and moved forward, and I wanted to actually look at some further things. And I know you're probably thinking at this point, you're probably like, man, this is already sounding like a huge chore. It's going to take so much of my time. It's not, I promise. Because what I was doing was I was looking through their bios and reading as much as I possibly could with the time that I had, but I was more so looking for very specific things in their bios. So if you're suffering with depression, if you're suffering with anxiety, those are the things that I was looking for in their bios. If they had it, great, move on to about me, maybe, that kind of thing. But my top recommendations for things to look for when you're looking for a therapist are these. Look for someone who accepts your insurance. It's a lot cheaper to pay just a copayment than it is to pay the entire session out of pocket, because some of them can actually be up to like $200 an hour, depending on where you go. Some therapists actually even work on a sliding scale. So what that means is if they charge $100 per session, depending on your agreement with them, depending on your situation, they might be willing to work with you on giving you a cheaper price. Who's in your local area that you can do in-person sessions with? Right now, because coronavirus freaking sucks, a lot of therapists have actually closed down shop and they're not doing in-person sessions anymore. They have all pretty much migrated over to virtual session platforms. So keep an eye out for that and see if they're actually willing to do that with you as well. Next is, what do they specialize in? You want to make sure you find a therapist that has exactly what you need. So maybe you're going through troubles with bipolar or depression or anxiety or some kind of trauma or some type of disorder, etc., right? You want to find a therapist that is best equipped to handle what issue you're having. So what you want to do is find a therapist that's available to you so you can see them at least once a week. Twice a month, I would say, is the bare minimum to get started. Because when you see them that often, you get a lot more work done and you feel a lot more accountable to your growth and where you're heading. So you can get so much more done once a week or twice a month than you could ever get done once every 3 or 4 months, right? So those are the things you want to look out for. But my absolute biggest recommendation, hands down, the most important thing in my opinion, is ask them if they've actually been a patient in a therapist's office before. Meaning, have they ever or are they currently seeing a therapist? Because how can you trust someone that's never been in your seat before, right? I feel like that's the key thing to look out for, because You want someone that's going to understand where you're sitting because they themselves have sat there at one point too. Now, at this point, you're probably feeling a little bit overwhelmed by this whole process, but the good news is no one said you have to do it all in one day. So start small. Maybe for now, just start by finding 3 therapists a day until you find a few winners that you like, and you can just call up and email with any questions that you might have so you can get those answered and get those out of the way. But the point is, you want to just get started. Don't stress yourself out or overwhelm yourself by trying to find the winner in one day, okay? Because it's a little bit of a process. Unless you're kind of obsessive about finding a winner like I was, then, by all means, go for it. Otherwise, just spend 10 to 15 minutes a day, browsing the internet, trying to find someone who's available and who's willing to make your life better. And keep in mind, finding a good therapist that resonates and works well with you, it might take a couple of tries, but it's totally worth it, okay? Because you don't have to stick with just one. For example, at one point, I was actually seeing 2 therapists multiple times throughout the month. And I did that because I was kind of transitioning out of one therapist office into the next, one that resonated a lot more and worked well to what I needed. So what I wanted my current therapist to give me some kind of like homework assignments. I liked having something to do. It made me accountable for what I just learned instead of it being, okay, here's a session, that went great, now back to old habits. I didn't want that. I wanted something that said, that treated me more like a student, like I'm learning. That's what it is. You're learning more about yourself, and they are the ones that are guiding you, right? So what I needed was homework. This therapist gave me homework, this person did not. So it does take a couple of tries to find the winner for yourself, but it is totally worth it, I promise. Just keep these recommendations handy whenever you are looking for a therapist, and I promise they're going to be so beneficial to you. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I promise it's worth it. It may seem like a little bit of work, but it's totally, totally worth it. Don't give up. There's therapists out there and they're waiting to make your life better, just like they made mine better. All right. So stay strong, and I'll see you guys next week.